Hey guys, I'm Phil Blanks and welcome back to NPC. We have started looking at all the characters for Smash Bros. Ultimate, which includes every character in every Smash Bros., and seeing if we could kind of cut some characters and make it a smaller roster. Last episode we started with Super Smash Bros. For the N64, and we cut 2 of the 12 characters, maybe even a third, depending on Captain Falcon's kind of road from here. I suggest watching that one before watching this one. We're kind of going in order of all the characters as they are listed in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I also wanted to correct myself last time with Jigglypuff. I was talking about how in Japan Jigglypuff was originally supposed to be like the mascot of Pokemon. No, it turns out that was actually supposed to be Clefairy of all Pokemon, which actually means that there is even less of a reason for Jigglypuff to be in Smash Bros. So I do not feel bad cutting him at all, so there you go. Alright, so today we'll be looking through the new characters that they added for Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Nintendo GameCube back in 2001. Melee is when they really started, really adding the cool characters, the interesting characters. The obvious ones were added in Smash 64, but Melee started adding, alright, we got our bearings down. Who can we add to make this really fun and interesting? Number 13, Peach. Peach deserves a spot in Smash Bros. I think she's a really cool character. You do need female characters, and unfortunately in the world of video games, female characters tend to, especially back in the day of retro gaming, tended to just be the prize. And Peach is a character that I find has really come from that part of gaming and has really become her own thing now, and I think she's done really, really well in Smash Brothers. Before taping this episode, but after taping the last episode, I saw that there was another guy online who did this kind of sort of thing. He went really fast though. He did the entire 74 whatever character roster in a single video, and he actually cut Peach. I just found that really, really weird that he cut Peach, but then kept really random characters. It was super weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm the weird one here, but I would keep Peach. I don't think Peach makes sense to get rid of, especially considering, in my opinion, the way she works in Smash Brothers really focuses on stuff like Super Mario Bros. 2 and Super Princess Peach, and yeah, I think she's great. Definitely keep her in. Number 14, Bowser. Another keeper. Smash Melee is really when they started adding villains, and villains are necessary to the roster. I truly believe that. And Bowser's the original Nintendo villain. He's incredible. He's a huge heavyweight. All of his actions are great. I like Bowser more in Smash Brothers than I like him in actual Mario games. So this is a no-brainer. We're just going to move on. 15. Ice Climbers. I find it really weird that these are supposed to be in order in which they thought of these characters for the games, and Peach, Bowser, then immediately Ice Climbers. Alright, whatever. Ice Climbers comes from a single game. It's called Ice Climbers. It's for the Nintendo. No one likes that game. I take that back. A lot of people like that game, but it's not super memorable. It's not one that people really think of when they think of Nintendo's history or anything. The only reason I played it is because I owned a 31-in-1 cartridge when I was a little kid, and that was one of the games on there. I had no idea that Nintendo made them. When they announced Ice Climbers for Smash Bros., I didn't even know what to think. That being said, sorry, cut them. They are huge in the competitive scene, but that's not what this list is about. It's about making a smaller roster on actual legendary Nintendo and video game characters. The Ice Climbers are not that. They were a joke character. They were there to bring back a retro thing that was like a cute callback. But no, the only way Ice Climbers should ever stay in this weird reboot of Smash Brothers that I'm making up would be if Ice Climbers came back and there was a brand new franchise, or sorry, there was a new entry in the franchise, which I don't think is going to happen, as much as I personally do want to see that. But no, Ice Climbers, sorry, they're gone. Number 16, Sheik. It's weird they added Sheik before Zelda. I'm pretty sure they were just oh, Sheik is battle ready, and Zelda wouldn't be. So I think that's why they added Sheik originally before Zelda. Sheik is Zelda and is in all of 2 games, and that is Ocarina of Time and Hyrule Warriors. And Hyrule Warriors is a spin-off, and it isn't even made by Nintendo. Sheik is straight up only in 1 Zelda game, so no, she's not. She's iconic of 1 game in Zelda. She's not iconic of the Zelda series. She's a cool character and very, very interesting to play with. But no, I'm sorry. I just think if you have a franchise with that many games in the series, having a character from one of those games is kind of weird, so we're going to cut Sheik. Number 17, Zelda. Now, Zelda we're going to keep. Zelda is super well done in Smash Brothers, and she's like in every Zelda game, almost. Not all of them. She's not Link's Awakening, she's not Link, I guess she's technically Link's Adventure, but her main power there is sleeping, so, yeah, whatever. I love the idea that a lot of the Legend of Zelda characters are in different forms in each Smash Brothers game, like how in Melee, and, in Melee, in Smash 64, it was the Ocarina of Time Link, and then it's the same with Zelda and Sheik, they were the Ocarina of Time versions. Same with Ganondorf. Then in Brawl and Wii U, they were the Twilight Princess versions. And now in Ultimate, all of them are from different games. I think it's really cool that this Zelda is from Link to the Past / Link Between Worlds. And I love that tradition. So I still, like, Zelda is so iconic that there's multiple versions of her, and we still know who that character is. And that says something. I mean, come on, the game's called Legend of Zelda. Yeah, Zelda's staying there. 18, Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario is the single most important character in Nintendo's history. If you look back in... I'm just joking. No, we're cutting Dr. Mario. He's the dumbest addition to Smash Bros. I love him. He's one of my mains. But it's really stupid. He's basically an Echo Fighter, even though apparently Nintendo doesn't want to admit to that. But yeah, of course cut him. He's Dr. Mario. I think he should be a skin for Mario. I don't know why they like, even in Brawl, when they didn't bring back Dr. Mario, I don't know why they didn't make that a skin. But yeah, Dr. Mario is an actual separate character. That is absolutely ludicrous. Number 19, Pichu. Pichu's another obvious cut. He's silly. He was one of the 3 joke characters from Melee, and probably the dumbest Pokemon to have added to Smash Brothers. It's so silly because he's not at all iconic. He's iconic as a Smash because he's the joke character, but all he is just he's Pikachu Jr. Pika Jr. Like, that's not a reason to be in Smash Brothers. It was silly the first time. It's silly again in Ultimate. I mean, I know why is in Ultimate everyone's come back, but like, I think if you were to cut a single character, if Smash Bros. Ultimate 2 came out, they're like, we have to cut one character and one character only, it'd probably be Pichu. Number 20, Falco. Falco from Star Fox. He is on that line for me. I do think more characters from Star Fox should be in Smash, and I am glad that more and more each game they make Falco less of an Echo Fighter. But I don't think Star Fox is big enough to house 3 characters. So I don't know, considering he's not really incredibly different than Fox, I'm going to have to cut Falco, which is a shame because he's a great character, but he's just the second, like, he's the secondary character of a third tier Nintendo franchise that hasn't had a truly great entry in it for years. And because they seem to keep just remaking Star Fox 64 over and over and over again, I find a lot of the characters in Star Fox aren't evolving. And because of that, Falco isn't anything more than just Nintendo's version of Han Solo, but I'm sorry. Yeah, cut Falco. 21, Marth. Alright, the first of the billion friggin' Fire Emblem characters. If I had done this list 10 years ago, I would have cut Marth. But Fire Emblem has become this huge franchise for Nintendo. It's crazy how big, to be honest, because it was fairly big in Japan, and then it came out in North America, thanks to Smash Brothers, I might add. And then just people sort of thought it was cool, and then it didn't do super well, and then now the older games are super hard to find and extremely rare because no one bought them. And then Awakening comes out and just holy crap, knocks it out of the park. Anyways, back to Marth himself. If Marth was just another character from Fire Emblem, I would cut him. But I am very much a fan of the first game should always be iconic to some degree because it's the root of that franchise. And Marth is the first main character of the Fire Emblem games. He is the first Lord character. He's the first character you control. Marth is the Fire Emblem character. So, yeah, keep him. Number 22, Young Link. Young Link is... he's like Dr. Mario. It's such a silly idea to have him in there. And I can't believe they put him in Melee. He's such a weird character. So, here's my thing about Young Link. As he is right now, cut him. Because he's just Link. He's just Link, and he drinks milk. That's all he is. If you were to keep a character like Young Link, this is my pitch for that, if you were to keep him, if you really wanted to keep Young Link. So Link, regular Link, is everything representative of the 3D Zelda games. Ocarina of Time, not so much more Majora's Mask or Wind Waker, but Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild, whatever the next one is. That's why I think Young Link would be representative of the 2D Zelda games. He'd have the Power Glove, he'd have the Pegasus Boots, he'd have Rock's Feather, he'd have the Magic Mirror, he'd have the Fire and Ice Rod, he'd have, I don't know, something from the Minish Cap, he'd have his Magic Hammer too, like, I don't know. In my opinion, if you were to take Young Link, he needs to be super completely different from regular Link, because having another Link in there is sort of nonsensical. Keep that in mind for when we get to Toon Link, by the way. Sort of nonsensical to have so many friggin' Links. So yeah, I'm gonna say go ahead and say cut Link. But if you were to make an argument for him, he'd have to be completely different. I think that's possible. I actually think that's super, super duper possible. Number 23, Ganondorf. Holy shit, yeah, keep Ganondorf. But change the crap out of him. Why is he still so much of a Captain Falcon clone? And yes, I know they've changed a lot about him. And he is, especially in Ultimate, the farthest removed from the Captain Falcon clone that he started out as in Melee. He's still not different enough. It's crazy how they don't seem to want to change him all that much. It's super, super weird. Like, I don't know. It's weird because they only seem to use Ocarina of Time Ganondorf or Twilight Princess Ganondorf. Like, I'm surprised that in Smash Wii U they didn't make him Demise for Skyward Sword. Is it because Skyward Sword didn't do well? I have no idea, because they didn't use the Link or Zelda designs for that either, which I found was really weird. But Ganondorf needs to be a little bit more of a culmination of all his forms. And I know that's a little difficult because you only get to fight him once pretty much in each game, so it does not like they have a lot of things to choose from. But you know, he's got the light ball from Ocarina of Time that he smack back and forth, which is always his thing. He could use, you know, one major sword that he gets from Twilight Princess, or he could like dual wield from Wind Waker. I don't know, I think there's more you can do with Ganondorf than just make him the way he is. But regardless, I would still keep Ganondorf. He's the main villain of Legend of Zelda, by the way, so, you know, there's that. So, yeah, keep him. Number 24, Mewtwo. Part of me wants to keep Mewtwo really badly because Pokemon Red and Blue is the Pokemon game that I grew up with. And Mewtwo, to me, was the final boss of that game. I remember going to see the movie when that came out in theater and being so into it. But now he's just a legendary. He's just a character. He's not important in any of the stories. He's only iconic to old fogies like me. So, as cool as he is, there's a reason they cut him out of Brawl. And there's a reason that he wasn't even in Smash Wii U until he was DLC. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Mewtwo. Mewtwo not coming back. Cut him. 25, Roy. Just like Mewtwo, there's a reason why they cut him out of Brawl, and that's because, you know, he wasn't that super important. The only reason Roy was in Smash Bros. Melee was to promote the new Fire Emblem game at the time, which had Roy as the main character. I mean, God, Melee came out before that game. So Roy's first appearance was Smash Bros. Melee as this unknown guy that no one knew who he was, especially North Americans. Like, sure, in Japan they're like, oh, Roy? Well, he's a Fire Emblem character, but I don't remember him. And then he was just there to be an advertisement. So that's not really... that's a pretty lame reason to be in Smash Brothers. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I know that's why they add certain characters, and I'm not stupid. Like, that's clearly a good reason marketing-wise, but if you were to cut out a bunch of characters and only keep the iconic ones, boy, Roy is not iconic. He still doesn't have a friggin' game here, for God's sakes. That game still never came out of Japan. So how iconic can Roy be if he's only iconic worldwide because of Smash Brothers? And when you're iconic because you're in the crossover game, then you're not in the crossover for the right reasons. So as much as I like Roy, sorry, Roy's out. At number 26, the last character to be added into Melee, Mr. Game & Watch. Game & Watch is a joke character. He is silly. He's super old. I mean, he's older than Mario. He's from friggin' the Game & Watch games, which were like before the NES and before the Game Boy and all that. But he is also representative of an entire era of games before the Famicom. And that's sort of important. It's not like Ice Climbers where he was just kind of, like the Ice Climbers were just kind of there during that whole era of the Nintendo coming out and the Famicom coming out. But Game & Watch was there before all that, and that's pretty important, I think. I'm going to keep him for now. For now. When we get to the end of all this, we're gonna do some more cuts, because we want to get that like 30 to 35 roster, and Mr. Game & Watch is probably going to be the first one to be cut if we do that, so there we go. I have massacred Melee's roster way worse than I killed the N64 ones, and I'm sorry. There's going to be some harsh words, I think, from me for this one. I got a lot of fan favorites, but I mean, again, this is just me being like in this alternate universe where I'm the guy who gets to make the decision on this brand new Smash Brothers game with less roster people in it. And, you know, if your decisions are different than mine, that totally makes sense. That being said, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear, in Melee, if you had to cut a few characters, who would you cut and why? It could be like, oh yeah, I cut Zelda. Why? I don't know, I just don't like magic users. I don't know, Legend of Zelda's not a big deal. Like, I don't care, put that in the comment. I want to see you guys discuss that, it'd be really cool. So anyways, next time we will look at the third Super Smash Bros. Game for the Wii, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and we'll see who we can take out and whose dreams we can crush next time on NPC. I'm Phil LeBlanc. Take care, guys.